Welcome back, everybody. So what I want to do today is have a more open discussion with you guys, and I really do encourage you to put your own experiences or your own thoughts down in the comments below for this one. The topic of discussion: should VGA change their scale? And this is my first question for you guys. How easy do you think it is to understand the VGA scale? If you entered into the hobby in the past few years, how hard has it been for you to try and learn the VGA scale? It's one thing for longtime collectors such as myself who have been submitting to VGA for literally 8 to 10 years now. Of course, I understand the nuance of the scale. I understand how hard they grade the box, how much weight they place on the cellophane. But for a new person, when all you see on the label is a single number that combines both the box and the seal, I'm really not sure how to teach someone how it works other than a lot of personal experience. It's actually kind of funny because one of the very first videos I uploaded to this channel was myself trying to explain to people the VGA scale and how VGA grades your games. That was over a year ago now. It's a pretty rough video, admittedly, but my thought process was I wanted to try and deliver as much value as I could in some of my very early videos, and that's one of the spots where I was like, I can really help people learn this scale because there is no educational information out there on how to actually appraise on the VGA scale. As you guys know, when WATA entered into the scene, they brought with them a brand new grading scale. They did not use VGA's model. And what made WATA's scale so great is that they separated out the box into a numerical grade and the seal into an alphabetical grade. And whether or not the scale is perfect or consistent or anything like that, at least when you look at a WATA label, you can immediately get a lot more information than you can when you look at a VGA label. I can quickly assess what kind of damage exists to both the box and the seal and have a rough gauge of how bad the damage is. Regardless of any other opinions I might have about VGA or WATA, I can confidently say that I much prefer the WATA scale that they use, and the WATA label in general. I do appreciate all the additional information they put on both the front and the back of the label. I do have to assume that once CGC enters into the scene, they are going to adopt a scale much closer to WATA's system than VGA's. And that brings us to the second universal issue here of the VGA scale, is it's extremely hard to translate it to the WATA scale. All of the time, people ask me, oh, like, Greg, what does this VGA 80 cross over to? Or, oh, what does this VGA 85 equal on the WATA scale? And it's like, okay, you have a VGA 80. That could be anywhere from a WATA 8.0 to a WATA 9.2, and it could be anywhere from a B seal to an A++. When we talk about something like a VGA 80, your variance on where it could land on the WATA scale is massive. And that's because a VGA 80 could mean a creased box with a beautiful seal. It could mean a damaged seal with a beautiful box. It could mean a cracked case with a beautiful seal. It could mean that both the box and the seal have some degree of wear. The point is, you can't look at the VGA label and assess what's actually wrong with the game. You have to look at detailed photos of all sides of the item. And as much as I do enjoy having my stuff graded with VGA, that is kind of a pain. It's a huge pain that you can't just look at the label and at least know, oh, that has rips in the seal, or oh, that means the box is creased to this degree. And of course, people can educate themselves if they put in enough time to learn and work with the scale. But even having that much learning curve to begin with does make it extremely hard for new people to enter into the hobby and know what they're buying. Which brings us to the big question of, can VGA actually change their scale at this point? And realistically, no. They couldn't get away from using the numerical scale of 75 plus, 80, 85 plus. They have to stick with that system. They've been doing it for 10, 15 years now. If they were to change away from that scale now, it would screw up everything. However, there is still a way they can improve the scale greatly. And this would come in the form of putting subgrades onto the VGA label. And it's pretty interesting because they already do seem to do this in their toy division and perhaps already in their VHS division as well. If we look at one of the graded toys, it will have the numerical grade there, an 85 say at the top of the label. But then underneath it, it does break down the different categories, and it'll say 80, 85 plus 80, and your cumulative grade is a VGA 85 then. And that's the same with when I saw this picture of a VHS on Facebook. It shows that it's an 85 plus, and underneath you can see that the box is an 85 and the seal is an 85, which how that equals an 85 plus, I have no idea. But the point is, they can easily introduce these kind of subgrades onto video games. And even if they do want to charge an additional fee like how CGC does or how BGS does if you want subgrades on your card, charge an additional fee to include the subgrades on the VGA label. Of course, we can't go back and change the items that were already graded, but moving forward, at least this little bit of additional information will help someone looking at an item immediately know if the box is in good shape and if the seal is in good shape. It's no longer a one or the other and you kind of have to look at the item. You'd be like, oh, the box is an 85, but it has rips because the seal says 70. The overall grade is an 80 plus. Perfect. I understand what I'm purchasing. I don't know if we'll ever get to that world, but it's something that I really do hope they consider implementing. And if it is true that they're going to go forward with that with VHS, and VHS being their new department, then I don't see why they wouldn't also consider it at least for video games? Let me know below any thoughts you have on this topic. I'd love to have a discussion with you guys about it. As always, thanks to every patron who helps support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.